the Quarantine Cast, coming at you from Shane Miller, the youth director of First Presbyterian Church in Lake Wales. Today, I talk with Cal Sanelli about losing to our wives in every game that we play, Myspace, and Cal's testimony. For more information about First Presbyterian Church in Lake Wales, go to fpclw.org. What is up, Quarantine Squad? It's Sunday morning. By the way, I took the phrase Quarantine Squad from Lily Wonker. Shout out to Lily Wonker. She called us the Quarantine Squad on Wednesday night, and I just thought that was the perfect name for our team. Today, we have with us, again on the show, drumroll please, Cal Sanelli.
What's up, everybody? Been a while, but Shane finally met all my demands, and now I'm back.
I had to have you back. We had tons of letters coming into the Quarantine Cast headquarters, and 75% of the letters said, "When is Cal coming back? Get him on the show." It was overwhelming, so I had to get you back.
What you don't know is I was actually sending all those letters to you myself.
You know what? They did have the same handwriting.
Yeah, I just wanted to be back so bad that I started sending a bunch of fan mail to you on my behalf.
Do you happen to write with a crayon?
Mostly the blue crayon, but I mix in some purple and some green just to throw you off a little bit.
And are your R's backwards?
Actually, about half my letters are backwards, and most of the words are misspelled.
Cal, you got to work on that. Cal, it's actually been a month since I talked to you last time. Can I ask you a question? It's been a month. Does it feel like a month to you?
All right, so sometimes the weeks feel really long, but actually at the same time, they feel like they fly by. So I post those youth videos that I talked about last time every Tuesday, and then I do some for the children's church every Friday. And the other day I was looking back at how many of them I've already made, and I was like, wow, it's been quite a bit of time, but it feels like it's only been a few days.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I don't know how many quarantine casts we've done, but when I look back on the month, sometimes it feels like, yeah, that was a month, but sometimes when I look back on it, it feels like 3 months.
Yeah.
The last time I talked to you, you were doing puzzles. What are you doing now?
So we didn't even have an internet or TV set up, so now I've got that back. But last night, I challenged my wife to a game of Toy Story Monopoly, and I'm sure she cheated because after a long time, we decided to just count up the money and see who has more, and she had more, but she was also the banker. So if she slipped herself a couple extra bills, I wouldn't be surprised. So the win is under investigation.
Cal, are you calling your wife a cheater?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no other possible explanation as to how she could beat me in Toy Story Monopoly because I was Buzz Lightyear. So I feel like that alone gives me an advantage. But she was Jessie, and somehow she pulled out the victory.
Wives, am I right?
Oh, dude, yeah.
When Mary and I were first married, we got Scrabble.
Oh, boy.
And I was so excited to play Scrabble because I love words and I love guessing how to make words with the tiles and I love to read. So this game was right up my alley. So excited. And I had a lot of confidence in myself too. And Mary and I started playing, and every single game she would beat me. It took 1 week and I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Well, my wife and we went bowling when we were dating, and she smoked me. Like, it wasn't even close. And I was pretty confident, and she destroyed me. And so it took a long time before we stepped foot in a bowling alley together again, just because I knew that was her turf.
Wives always win. Wives always win. Cal, we also had a guest on our show, Matt Simpson.
Yeah, I listened to it.
And he offended me a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. When he, made fun of High School Musical?
No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. When he said that he would never get a MySpace.
Oh, yes. I know what yes. First of all, he looked in the App Store. Everyone knows that you have to go to your desktop computer, use your dial-up internet, and go to www.myspace. I feel like that's right up his alley, to have, a MySpace from back in the day.
One of my goals from this quarantine cast is to get as many people back on MySpace as possible.
I feel like that's the best use of this platform.
Maybe you could, for a couple minutes solid, just tell our listeners the value of MySpace, why you should choose MySpace over other social media platforms such as the Facebooks, such as Instagrams, Snapchat. What else is out there?
Well, so I will say this. If I talk for minutes about why MySpace is the best, It will probably total more time than I've ever been on MySpace combined. I first got it when I was probably in like 7th grade. Then like all the cool kids that I knew were on MySpace. And then it seemed like instantly once I logged on, they all jumped to like Facebook. So I don't know if I was the one that made it uncool, where as soon as I joined it, it became uncool. But luckily, all these years later, with Shane Miller like leading the way, MySpace is coming back.
You're right. Cal, this might be a little contentious, but if Matt Simpson were here right now and he said those things to you that he said to me about MySpace, what would you tell him?
Well, I would tell him to log on right now, because back when we were at FCA, we posted a picture to MySpace on there. And I would make him look at that picture and tell me he's not jealous. I guarantee you he'd go home, dust off his desktop, and log on and make one. Actually, I'll go as far as to say this. I bet he has one, and he has stuff on there that he doesn't want us to see, like a young Matt Simpson. He might have had like a mullet or something that he was rocking, and he's trying to hide that part of his life. So I bet he has one, and he doesn't want us to find it.
All right, y'all, you know what to do now. Get on your computers, get onto your MySpace, and find that picture of Matt Simpson with the mullet.
Yes.
SoCal? SoCal. Does anyone say that to you? SoCal.
When I was younger, people would be like, California, to try to like make fun of me.
Oh.
But the worst was when they would say like Cal, like COW. And I remember being like in 1st grade, they'd be like, hey, Cal, why don't you move? I'd be like, I'm not a cow. And that would like get under my skin so bad. My name's short for Calvin, but I was named after the baseball player Cal Ripken Jr., and he always went by Cal, so I went by Cal.
You're not named after the theologian?
So I went to a classical Christian school from 7th grade till I graduated high school. And like a lot of my teachers and a lot of the parents would be like these classically trained, well-educated people. And so when they would find out my name was Calvin, they'd be like, oh, so you're named after? I'd be like, nope. The baseball player.
So you said you went to a Christian school.
Yep.
Have you always been a Christian?
I was really blessed. So in my like immediate family, both of my grandfathers were ministers. My mom's dad was in the Salvation Army for a long time, and my dad's dad was a pastor. And then my dad and my mom met working at a Christian school. So from the moment that I was born, I was attending church. And then when I started going to school, I was always going to a Christian school. So I first accepted the Lord when I was very young. I was probably like, I don't know, 5 or something. I remember calling my parents into my room saying that I wanted to say the prayer and accept the Lord into my heart. And the problem was then, like growing up, I remember always thinking when I would hear these people at chapel with these crazy testimonies, I remember thinking, my testimony's terrible. Like, I don't have a good one. I wish I would have like done all these crazy things and then become a Christian so I'd have a cool story. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that my testimony's still going. Me accepting the Lord into my heart, that wasn't the end of my story. That was really the beginning of my story. And from then until now and for the rest of my life, my story is going to be, how am I living as someone that's trying to live according to Scripture, who's a follower of Christ, who's trying to share the word with other people. So I've always had Jesus a part of my life, and I've been surrounded by that. Thankfully, my whole family have been supportive because they're believers and they've worked in Christian education and churches. So I was really blessed.
So you talked about how your testimony is still going. Maybe you could talk about, for our students who have the same experience, who grew up not knowing a day where they didn't know Jesus. What are some ways that you've seen God continue to be faithful in your life, even up to this point, even in the past couple months, to maybe encourage some of our students who are in the same boat?
One of the main things that I do, especially if I'm ever feeling down or alone, or I feel like not everything is going right, one of the exercises that I started to do was just simply think back. And usually I don't have to think very far, but when I think back over my life, I can see how God was working in my life and how he used some of the bad times that I've had in my past where things didn't seem to be going my way, how that's now worked its way for good. So I would say to those that maybe feel like they're not going to be able to have as much fun as other people, or they feel like their testimony's boring, just know that when you've accepted the Lord into your heart, he's there with you. And so nothing that you do is going to be wasted. So if you're living for him and you're following his commands, then you know that he's going to be with you every step of the way, working that out for good. And really, when you look back, it's going to be beautiful to see how he held your hand through your life. life and how he's brought you to where you are now. So it's exciting, and it really is special. And so I'd encourage you to stick to it, stay in his word, and stay in prayer. Maybe even start journaling on the things that he's doing in your life so that you can look back and read and see the blessings that you had and the answered prayers.
Cal, I know that a lot of the students who listen to this podcast know you. They're excited to hear from you on this podcast. You want to say anything to them specifically before we say quarantine out?
I mean, I miss you guys a lot, and I'm sure my wife is sick of me because she just sees me all day, every day. My dog is probably sick of me. So I miss you guys, and I can't wait till I get to see you. And I mean, I really appreciate Shane having me on here so that I can talk to you guys. But as I mentioned the last time I was on here, I'm posting videos to our Instagram page. It's all undercase. It's South_student_ministry. Check those out, and you can send me messages on there if you want to talk or catch up. But hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Well, Cal, thank you for coming on the show twice.
Thank you for having me, Shane. It's always great.
Well, guys, another week in quarantine checked off the calendar. It was great to have Sunday morning with y'all. I hope you are well, and I will see you next week. Quarantine Cast out.